Hello and welcome to our North Carolina Tar Heels Dynasty in NCAA Football 2004. Today's going to be a quick episode. We're going to take a look at the coach, who is going to be Harold Beecher, my grandfather who just passed away recently. I had my grandfather on the other side of my family be the head coach for our Mississippi State Bulldogs Dynasty, so it's only right to use both of my grandfathers. So here we are, head coach Harold Beecher, great hair, wears a hat. He always wore his cowboy hat. And I never talked to him a whole lot. Every time I saw him, it was just, a few sentences here and there. But they were always great conversations. Just great little conversations that I enjoyed and I miss. But here we are, taking a look at the preseason polls. And we are nowhere to be seen. North Carolina went 3-9 in 2002. So for the 2003 season, I'm hoping we can get close to a bowl game. I'm not sure if the team is ready for that for year one. The offense that we're going to be running this season, or for this entire series, is going to be the polar opposite of what we ran for the Mississippi State Bulldogs Dynasty. We are going to throw the football a lot here with the Tar Heels. And there we are, 66th in the country, a B- overall, B- offense, C+ defense, and a B+ special teams. Now, the run game is going to be really rough to start. The offensive line for the Tar Heels is not very good. So we're going to rely on the passing attack about 70% of the time, most likely every game. Darian Durant at quarterback, he is pretty good. And behind him is Stevens, the senior quarterback. So if Durant ends up getting injured, we will see Stevens in there as well. But the position with the most depth is the wide receiver group for this team. So it should be pretty easy to throw the football. There's a couple freshmen on the team at receiver that are going to get quite a bit of playing time and quite a bit of targets every single game. Let's take a look at the preseason first-team All-Americans. Cody Pickett for Washington, Steven Jackson, Maurice Clarett, both halfbacks. Clarett, of course, is a legend at Ohio State. He was a monster. Steven Jackson, of course, went on to have a really successful NFL career in real life. And there is Rashawn Woods, Roy Williams, Kellen Winslow Jr. representing the U, Robert Gallery. Definitely a lot of players on this list so far that went on to have successful NFL careers. There's Will Smith. Cool story about him. He actually raced against my oldest brother, Brandon, in track and field way back in the day. So that was a really cool experience. And RIP to Will Smith. Great player in the NFL and great player for Ohio State. Definitely a generational talent for his size. And there's Vince Wilfork, another Miami representative. Tommy Harris, Teddy Lehman, Derek Johnson, one of the best outside linebackers to come out of Texas. And there's Derek Strait. Chris Gamble, of course. He plays both sides of the football. Here's Sean Taylor, my all-time favorite player in any sport ever. His death had a huge impact on me, but not as much as his life did. Just a phenomenal person and athlete all around, and he is definitely sorely missed in the football world. Well, that is it for that. Bob Sanders, strong safety. Tadian Moss for our FCS Dynasty on the Bryant Bulldogs reminds me a lot of him. Similar size and play style, just great players. Nate Kading, I'm not sure who these other kickers are. Phillip Rivers, obviously he's going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame one day. Kevin Jones, he was a bust, played for the Lions. He ended up just being so injury prone that he was rarely on the field. Reggie Williams, Mike Williams, Ben Utek, Nat Dorsey, there we go, my goodness. Georgia Tech. So a lot of great players on here. There's Jason Babin, Western Michigan. And there's some players that I've never heard of in my life. Another Miami player, Jonathan Vilma, if you haven't realized it, I am a Miami Hurricane fan through and through. First ever football game I've ever seen in my life that I could recall was Miami versus UCLA in 1995 with Ray Lewis running around on the field. Miami would lose that game, but ever since then, I have been a Miami fan. And that also translated to the NBA. Sad to see Dwayne Wade retire. Such a great athlete. And he really just embraced Miami from the day he was drafted there. And he will be missed in the NBA by many. Taking a look at the conference outlook. North Carolina all the way down at 7th. And I don't think we're going to really move up past that spot this season. I just think this team needs a lot of help. So recruiting is definitely going to be #1 priority. We need to bring in more depth because there is not enough on this roster. And there is the contract. They want us to maintain the team prestige and win a conference title. I'm not sure if that is for year 1 or for the entire contract. I can't remember if it was for the whole contract for this game. Let's take a look at the team's schedule. Florida State is our first game, number 13 in the country. Then we take on Syracuse. Those are both home games. Then we take on Wisconsin in Wisconsin. And I'm not looking forward to that. That's going to be a rough matchup. And NC State, Virginia. There's 6 ranked opponents on this schedule to start off. And ECU, that could be a win for us. Wake Forest and Duke. So this team, I'm not going to expect any more than 4 or 5 wins. Just looking at the schedule, it looks like it's going to be rough. Duke, that might be a good win for us. Not an actual good win, but a good chance that we'll win it. I like our chances against Syracuse and ECU, of course, but they have basically identical ratings as us. And the rest of the schedule, this is just so brutal for year 1. But all we got to do is maintain that 3-star prestige. And we're going to redshirt a few players here, nothing crazy. As we could see, there's not a lot of depth at all. There's a handful of players that are going to stick out every single game. But I am excited to work with this wide receiver core. There's a lot of depth there. That's the only position group that has depth. And we're going to be throwing the football to everybody on this list right here. And Mike Mason, 6'4", 205-pound wide receiver, true freshman. He is definitely going to be a big target for us. And this, probably the whole dynasty, most likely. Obviously not the last season, but he is going to be the slot receiver. And he's basically a starter because we're going to be running at least 3 receivers every single play. This ground game is not going to work too well. The offensive line is awful. The guards are the best spot on the offensive line. We're going to be redshirting one of them. Jason Brown, 74 overall. It's just not good for the offensive line or the defensive line. So the ground attack for any team coming to take us on is probably going to be successful against this defensive line. And the linebacking core is also not good. We are going to be redshirting somebody here. I think we're going to be redshirting Malik Brown. We are. Only 2 middle linebackers. And we're going to be running multiple defensive schemes, so I wouldn't really take any kind of depth chart too serious because everybody's going to be playing. Dexter Reed, 89 overall. And that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you probably next week sometime with week 1. Well, actually week 2, game 1, as we take on the 13th ranked Florida State Seminoles. I'll see you guys soon. Take it easy.